Hello, everyone. This is HearBridge Stories, bringing you moving and truthful stories. The story I'm introducing today is truly special. It's the life-risking escape story of a general who held unimaginable power and responsibility within the North Korean military. Why did he have to abandon everything and leave? What dangers and anguish did he face in the process? And what message does he want to convey to us now? Let's listen together. This video is provided with subtitles in Korean, English, Japanese, and traditional Chinese, so viewers from all around the world are welcome. Please subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. Everyone, what comes to mind when you hear North Korean defection? Most would imagine stories of residents crossing the border, unable to endure hunger and oppression. But today's protagonist is different. He was someone at the core of the North Korean system. A military general with status, a luxury apartment in Pyongyang, special rations, and above all, he was a person who had the trust of the Kim Jong-un regime. Why would such a person decide to defect? According to recent media reports, defections by high-ranking North Korean officials are increasing. Analysis from the 2024 Ministry of Unification data also detected unrest among the North Korean elite class. What did they see? What did they feel that made them risk their lives to escape the system? This story is not just a simple defection account. It's about the bare face of North Korea seen from the pinnacle of power, and a choice made by one human being between conscience and fear. As you watch the video, I hope you'll ask yourself the question, what if I were in that position? Our protagonist, let's call him General Kim, was born in the late 1970s in a military family in North Pyongan Province. His father was a Korean War veteran, and his mother was a party official. It was a family with good Songbun family background. At age 17, he entered Kim Il-sung Military University and began his military career as a tank commander. His abilities were outstanding. By his late 20s, he had already become a battalion commander, and by his mid-30s, he rose to brigade commander. In 2015, in his early 40s, he earned the rank of Major General. Do you know how significant it is to become a general in North Korea? Out of North Korea's total population of 25 million, there are approximately 1,200 generals. That's the top 0.005%, the privileged class. He lived in a luxury apartment in Pyongyang's Mansudae district. When ordinary residents received corn from distribution centers, his family received special rations of rice, meat, and even foreign fruit. His children attended prestigious schools in Pyongyang, and overseas study was within consideration. But he says, on the surface it was glamorous. But it was a golden cage. The position he held involved special inspection work linked to the military security department, rooting out disloyal elements within the military, monitoring those with wavering ideology. In that process, he saw far too much of the dark underside of the North Korean system. One day in 2018, a colonel who had been his longtime colleague was arrested The charge: watching and distributing South Korean dramas. That colleague was publicly executed a week later. General Kim had to attend that execution. That's when I realized, no matter how high a position you hold, we're all just slaves to the system. The turning point came in the fall of 2022. General Kim received an assignment to inspect military units in the Chinese border region after COVID-19, as the North Korea-China border was sealed and smuggling and defection attempts surged. His mission was to crack down on these. But there he witnessed a shocking scene. A teenage girl was caught by border guards while attempting to defect. The girl was skin and bones from starvation, caught trying to cross the Tumen River. According to regulations, that girl should have been sent to a political prison camp. But the field commander made a different choice. Deal with her. Here, General Kim knew all too well what that meant. I am a soldier. I'm accustomed to killing enemy soldiers on the battlefield. But that day, the moment I saw that girl's eyes, I realized I could no longer work for this system. That night, General Kim made his decision to defect. But his defection would be on an entirely different level from an ordinary citizen's defection. First, he was too well known. If his face was exposed, immediate arrest was certain. Second, if his defection was discovered, his entire family would be in danger. In North Korea, 3 generations are punished under collective punishment. His wife and 2 children, and even his siblings. Third, he knew a lot of classified information. Military deployment maps, nuclear facility locations, corruption among high-ranking officials. From the North Korean authorities' perspective, this was a defection that had to be stopped at all costs. General Kim prepared meticulously for 6 months. First, he kept it secret from his family. To protect them, he left no evidence so his family could claim that the husband-father became a traitor and ran away. And he secretly contacted a defection broker in China. Tens of thousands of dollars were needed, and he used bribery income he had accumulated over several years. Yes, North Korean military generals also receive bribes. In fact, life is impossible without them. One dawn in March 2023, General Kim went to the border area under the pretext of a final inspection. He knew exactly the guard shift times and surveillance blind spots. It was an ironic situation using the vulnerabilities of a surveillance system he himself had designed. 4:23 a.m. He jumped into the Tumen River. The March River water was bone-chillingly cold. Even though he had been a good swimmer all his life, he was swept away by the strong current and nearly drowned. After crossing the river, he hid in the forest on the Chinese side and waited. The promised broker didn't come. 1 hour, 2 hours. The sun began to rise. If discovered, it would be over. Just then, a Chinese farmer appeared. He was someone sent by the broker. He hid General Kim in a truck bed, drove for 3 hours, and concealed him in a safe house. Life in hiding in China was another hell. China doesn't recognize defectors as refugees and forcibly repatriates them to North Korea, especially for high ranking defectors. The North Korean Security Department cooperates with Chinese public security to track them down. General Kim moved between various safe houses in China for 3 months. He couldn't stay in one place for more than a week. He shaved his head and deliberately lost over 20 kilograms. 2. Completely change his appearance. What did he think about during that time? He says this: "Every night I had nightmares. 2 kinds of nightmares. One was being caught and dragged back to North Korea. The other was my wife and children left behind in Pyongyang being dragged away. I sometimes thought it would be better to die." But he didn't give up. He had a mission: to tell the world the truth about the North Korean system. In June 2023, he finally secured a route to South Korea. The route was from China through Laos to Thailand, then through the Korean embassy, the so-called Southern Route. The journey was arduous. He had to walk through the Laotian jungle for 3 days and nights, and at the Thai border, he had to pay a large bribe to local police. But he made it. On July 12, 2023, General Kim arrived at Incheon Airport. The moment he first set foot on South Korean soil, he reportedly knelt down and shed tears. So this is what freedom is. The air, the sky. Everything was different. But freedom didn't immediately mean happiness. General Kim received 3 months of settlement education at Hanawon under the Ministry of Unification. There he had a strange experience. "I had to learn how to shop, how to use credit cards, how to take the subway, how to use smartphones. In North Korea I was a general, but here I had to learn everything like an elementary school student." What was harder was identity confusion. He had lived in the North Korean system for over 40 years and worked for that system. He was even someone who had monitored and punished other people. Who am I? Am I a victim or a perpetrator? Am I a hero or a traitor? These questions tormented him. Moreover, he had left his family behind. There was no way to hear news. 6 months after defecting, he heard about his family through indirect channels. His wife and children were expelled from Pyongyang and deported to the provinces. Fortunately, they didn't go to a political prison camp, but their lives were destroyed. The fact that my family suffers because of my choice. This is the heaviest burden a defector must bear. But General Kim didn't remain in despair. He realized his experience had value. He provided detailed information about the North Korean military to relevant agencies such as the National Intelligence Service and the Ministry of Defense, military deployment, weapon systems, command structure, and even the tendencies of high-ranking officials. This information greatly helped South Korea's national security. He also revealed the reality inside North Korea through media interviews, high-level corruption, people's starvation, the routinization of public executions. He testified to what he directly witnessed. "I was part of the privileged class. I was a beneficiary of the North Korean system. But beneath those privileges lay the suffering of 20 million people. I turned a blind eye to it. Now I live with that guilt. All I can do is speak the truth. General Kim vividly testifies to the bare face of North Korea that we didn't know about. First, the reality of the upper echelons. High-ranking officials in Pyongyang don't trust each other. Everyone monitors everyone else. You can't trust friends or even family. Because you never know when you'll be reported. 1 wrong word at a drinking party can mean a trip to a political prison camp. He shares one anecdote. A Workers' Party vice director drunkenly complained, "Why are rations in such a state these days?" and was arrested and disappeared the next day. Second, the reality of the military. North Korea boasts the world's 4th largest military. But the reality is miserable. Ordinary soldiers suffer from malnutrition, and desertions never stop. We caught deserters and publicly beat them to make an example of them. He adds, yet desertions continue. That means the situation is that desperate. Third, the influx of outside information. These days, North Korean residents, especially the younger generation, watch South Korean dramas and movies. They're traded on USB drives in the black market. I actually watched them secretly too. Crash Landing on You, Squid Game. It was shocking. Because it was completely different from what I learned in North Korea. He says, what the North Korean system fears isn't American military power. What it really fears is a single USB drive. Because the truth contained in it can bring down the system. Fourth, signs of change. It seems like the Kim Jong-un regime will last forever, but cracks are forming inside. Even high-ranking officials feel doubtful. Can this go all the way to the end? But fear is what keeps the system going. General Kim now lives in a small apartment in Seoul. He works for a North Korean defector support organization, helping junior defectors settle. He says this: I can't erase my past. I was part of the system, and to some, I was a perpetrator. But I can change. And if my story can be a small hope to someone, I believe that alone is meaningful. You are not alone. The world is wider than you think. And possibilities are more abundant than you imagine. Fear is natural. But you don't need to spend your entire life in a cage because of that fear. The gaze toward North Korean defectors is still cold. Some people suspect us of being spies or call us Reds. We're simply people who came seeking freedom. We're your fellow citizens. I would be grateful if you could look at us a bit more warmly. Everyone, pause the screen for a moment and think. If you were in General Kim's position, what choice would you have made? Could you have left your family behind? Could you have given up power in safety and jumped into an uncertain future? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Leave a sentence starting with, "If I were him." And also write the scene or message from this video that touched you most. And if there's someone around you who has experienced a big change, please share that. Story 2. Because we can all learn and grow from each other's stories. To summarize today's story. First, General Kim was a military general at the core of the North Korean system. Someone who enjoyed privilege and power. Second, he witnessed the contradictions and cruelty of the system and decided to defect. It was a life-risking choice. Third, he now lives a new life in South Korea, using his experience to reveal the truth about North Korea. Fourth, his story is about change and courage. It's a message of hope that people can change and start over no matter what background they come from. What we can gain from this story is not simple curiosity, satisfaction. It's deep reflection on the preciousness of freedom, human dignity, and the possibility of change. Everyone, at this very moment we can breathe, think, and speak freely. I hope you'll feel once again how precious this is. Thank you sincerely for watching to the end, subscribing, liking, and turning on notifications. Give us great strength. And sharing this video. Each one becomes a small seed of change. In the next video, I'll return with an even more thrilling story. A North Korean Special Forces Defector's international experience. Well everyone, hoping that small hope stays with you today. See you in the next video. Stay healthy.